Hello, it's Ed from Runnable. Yeah, it's Sunday morning. I have to say I'm not feeling the best. I had my flu jab and COVID jab yesterday, and it's kind of made me feel worse, as often is the case. And I've got a bit of a cold, so I thought I was supposed to meet a mate for a run. I decided not to meet him because I didn't want to give him this cold. So I'm going to go for a little gentle run around the park, get some fresh air, nothing too out of the ordinary. Going to avoid hills, going to avoid going fast, and finish off at the gym and have a nice stretch. And that's kind of a routine that I do a lot, actually. I like to do like a kind of easy run around the park, and then run to my local gym, my local Pure gym, and do some stretching there. There's quite a lot of people I know there now. I've been going for quite a few years now, so it's kind of nice social to see people at the gym as well, so it's quite nice. In fact, the guy I was meant to run with today, my buddy Sahar, I met him at the gym, not through running actually, and he was a runner and he was asking me questions, and you know, we got on and then we started running together. So that's how it can work sometimes. So I think in life, if you're a sociable person, like to chat to people, then you'll meet some incredible people on your running journey and your fitness journey, right? And that's the way you should be. You should be like, I think my dad always used to say, you know, when you meet people, try to make them feel happy, smile. And that's how I kind of view life as well. You know, try and make people feel happy, and they'll remember that. And those that don't, they're not worth making friends with anyway, or associating with anyway. Anyway, that's my ramble over. I am wearing the Hoka Mack X2, and I have to say, rapidly becoming one of my favourite shoes this year. It's right up there with the Balos, might be even a bit better than the Balos actually. And I prefer it at the moment to running in the Super Blast, to be honest. Maybe because it's new, maybe because it's got that plate in it. It's got that nice Piva foam that Hoka really smashed it with their foams this year. I think in general Hoka, you know, has come up in the world of running this year with the Cielo and the Mack X2 and the Mack 6. I could go on and on, the Skyward X. I mean, it's been a wonderful year for Hoka in terms of, you know, good running shoes. So anyway, I'll stop rambling now. I'll do a bit of a run in a Mack X2, and I'll let you know my thoughts on what this is like to do an easy-ish run. I'm not going to do anything crazy. And, you know, if you want to consider buying this shoe, how versatile this shoe would be. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye-bye. So, one thing to mention about this Mack X2, Hoka Mack X2, is I think it's really good shoe for forefoot strikers. If you look at the sole of the shoe, you can see it online, you know, look at the pictures. You've got two colours there. You've got one at the top of the sole, particularly in the forefoot area, and then another colour which predominantly in the heel and a bit under the forefoot. And so whatever colourway you're looking at, that top section under the forefoot is Piva foam. It's their race foam. So if you're landing there, you're getting the benefit of most of that Piva foam, and you get a nice bounce off the forefoot. It's also got, I think, quite a low drop, so you've got a huge wedge under the forefoot as well. I think it's been a movement just recently for lower drop racing shoes And I class this as a racing shoe because you could easily run a 5-10k, even a half marathon in this shoe, and I wouldn't hesitate running a marathon either. It's that comfortable. So yeah, I consider it a race shoe. Yeah, right. It's got a nice spring to it. I mean, that was actually that guy I said hello to was a guy from the gym as well. So there you go, what I was talking about earlier. But it's got a nice bounce to it. It's got a plate. I believe it's a nylon plate, not carbon. I can check that out. I think the plate is there mainly to add a bit of stability. It gives you a little pop. I don't think it does a huge amount with this shoe, although you do feel a nice level of propulsion. So I could be wrong about that. Like I said, I think you could definitely race in this shoe and I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. It's a nice feeling when you're running this shoe. So I would class the Hoka Mack X as a shoe that's bouncy, not mushy, not soft, firm enough that you get a nice spring from it, but not too firm that feels a bit awkward at slower paces. So I'm going quite slow at the moment for me, and it feels fine. I'm going around about 450, 5 km pace, which is, you know, not slow, but you know, not mega fast either, and it kind of just ticks you along. It's a nice feel, a nice bouncy ride. I love the foam as well. It's not quite there in terms of being like Cielo. For those that would buy this thinking they're going to get a toned down Cielo X1, you're not getting that. And I think it's good. That's good, really, because I think the Cielo should stand alone as Hoka's kind of alpha fly. And you don't really want to blur the lines between models. This one, I think, sits more in the sort of up tempo or long run shoe. You could definitely run long in this shoe, and it's got, I think it's got about 43 mil in the heel, so you've got a lot of protection there for your long run. And like I said, the foam's great. Not mushy, but not too firm. It's just about right for those kind of long runs that you want to do. And you can definitely pick the pace up with this shoe, which I like. You know, I think with long runs it's quite nice to break them up with doing some strides, and this is perfect for that. It's actually a comfortable shoe as well. Now, I say that with the caveat that I don't have the heel issues that a lot of people are having with the shoe. In fact, weirdly, I find it the opposite. Whereas I've had Achilles issues and heel issues with other shoes, I don't have anything with this shoe. Like, it's like, for me, one of the best shoes in that area, and the lockdown feels fine. I think it's because I've got quite a wide foot, and whilst this is not narrow, it's not wide either, and it hugs my foot quite nicely, this upper, and I don't get much movement in it. It kind of suits my foot shape. So I'm not getting any heel slippage, I'm not getting any rubbing at the back, I also went up a size in this shoe because I knew it's narrowish, and I think that's helped as well. It's long in the toe box, but for what I need it for, that doesn't matter. I doubt I'm going to race in this shoe, even though I could. So it doesn't need to be a race fit for me. And that's something to bear in mind when you're selecting shoes and what the use case is. Like if you're buying a shoe like this and you're buying it for racing, which a lot of you could do, and I wouldn't be against that myself. You buy it a race fit. You buy your normal size and your toes, although you don't want them right up against the top of the shoe. You know, you want it fairly tight, some room for your foot to expand, but you know, you want it to be hugging race ready. Then I think you're going to use them for long runs and training. That's not such a big deal, and it's more appropriate, I think, to go for comfort, and so you can have them a bit longer, a bit bigger, as long as you get a good lockdown, which, like I said, I haven't had a problem with this shoe. It's been perfectly fine. So yeah, I really like this shoe, is what I'm saying. I would advise you, if you're looking for a shoe that you can run slow in, you can also pick up the tempo like you can with the Super Blast. A comfortable shoe, one with a lot of bounce and propulsion, great foam. I think that you can't go wrong with this shoe. You just got to make sure you're not getting that heel problem. I think so many people have read the reviews of people with a heel issue and put off by this shoe. And I think if you've not got that issue, it's a wonderful shoe. In fact, ironically, the only other shoe at the moment that I probably prefer to put on for a run like this would be this yellow, you know, the Hoka racing shoe. So it just shows you, in my opinion, how well Hoka have done this year. When I started out running, really mainly marathon running in 2021-22, so not long ago, Hoka were a bit of a laughing stock. Then came the Rocket X2 and that foam that came with it, and everything changed. The Rocket was a huge success, maybe not commercially, but for those who knew about shoes, they knew that was a good shoe. They knew the foam was good. The only thing with that shoe, it came just before the majority of shoes started going up to 40 millimeters in the heel, and so it's less protective than some of the others, and that's why lots of people who need a bit more cushion for a marathon probably wouldn't go for the Rocket X2. They'd probably look for something with a bit more cushion. But generally speaking, that's when it all started for Hoka, and in recent years, I mean, and then it just exploded. Once they realised they were onto something with their new Fiber foam, then they realised, let's go for it for running shoes. And I've not tried the Skyflow, heard that's a good shoe, but you look at what I mentioned earlier, Skyward X, Mac 6, Mac X2, This yellow X1, Rocket X2, still a good shoe. Absolutely smashed it. Right. Smashed it out of the park. Yeah, they got 4 or 5 shoes that you could pick for your rotation there, and all of them would do a job. All of them good shoes. Just comes down to money and what you like. So with the Skyward X, I think it's a brilliant shoe, but I like max cushion shoes, right? I had an accident where my leg got hurt, and I tend to gravitate to shoes that are going to give me some cushion. So the Skyward X is great because it gives me cushion and is fun. It's a nice shoe. And then you got the Max 6, which I haven't tried, to be fair, but everyone tells me it's a great shoe, and it's their non-plated kind of easy stroke tempo run shoe. So if you don't want to have a plate at all, like you've got with this Mack X2, the Max 6 is a great shoe, and again the foam's good, so I hear. That one is a bit narrow actually, so you might need to size up, but all in all that's a great shoe. I know Andy from the Forest of Dean Runners, he swears by it, he loves it, and he's a good judge of shoes basically, so he thinks it's good, it's probably good, and it'll suit most people. And yeah, generally Hoka, I think, I've really got it together, and this Mack X2 is right up there with the best in its category. I'm saying, like, you know, I prefer it at the moment to Super Blast, slightly prefer it to the Balos. I think it's slightly, well, the Neo Vista's an interesting one. A similar price point. I think either one would be a great shoe for anyone. What I would say, both good for 4-foot strikers. Neo Vista and Mack X2, the difference is clear really. If you want something a bit softer and a bit even more bouncy, Neo Vista. If you want something a bit firmer and more propulsive, Hoka Mack X2. That's how you should differentiate between the two. I'd quite happily have both in my rotation and have the Neo Vista doing slower runs a bit like this and go up tempo with the Hoka Max 2, even do the odd race in it, just to see how it performs. So that's kind of all I wanted to say at the moment. I think not feeling particularly good today, so I'm going to go to the gym now and chill, stretch, do a bit of yoga, tight moves, Pilates. And that's for all you keen runners out there. I would actually recommend doing a few Pilates classes. Guys, I know these are predominantly full of women. Just do a few. Swallow your pride. Do a few. You'll be the shittest person in the room. But after a while, particularly with Pilates, all the core strength stuff, actually, you might start to realise how good you are at that kind of stuff. And, you know, doing the planks and side planks and all that kind of stuff really helps with your running. Yeah, so I recommend Pilates and also yoga if you want something a little bit more dialed down, more spiritual. But yeah, it's helped my running a lot. So I don't go to the classes anymore, but I've taken what I learned there and I've added it to my gym routine now. So I get a mat and I do a lot of the Pilates moves. So a great move for anyone who's having problems with their glutes, like I do on a regular basis, is something called a pigeon. So Google that on YouTube or YouTube it, and you'll see. Yeah, it's a really nice stretch for your glutes. I also do stretches on my groin, stretches for my hamstrings, my calves. I do back stretches. In fact, if you want to see me do some of this, and the ones I've adapted for running, so I picked some that have helped me a lot for running. And remember, in terms of results, by adding this kind of thing in, plus doing more mileage, I've gone from sort of a 20-minute 5k to just over 17 in the space of a couple of years. So it's taken a couple of years, but you know, that's, for me, that's a positive sign of improvement, and one which I'm proud of, you know. But doing those stretches, doing those all those Pilates core exercises is fundamental to improving yourself as a runner, so that when you're doing longer races like marathons or half marathons, even 10Ks, your body keeps its form, your back stays strong, your core stays upright, and you power through. And if you want to become a better runner, it's not just about increasing the mileage, it's increasing your core strength. I see a lot of people doing lots of leg weights and stuff like that, trying to improve their running, and I think that does help, but I don't think it's the number one factor here, right? I think you're doing a lot of that by running itself. So when you run up a hill, you're doing a lot of leg, it's like doing a leg day. So I would sooner concentrate on the gym or all your strength and conditioning stuff, some of which are core strength stuff in Pilates. Other things are doing your basic stretching, your calf raising, all those kind of things. So I'll do a video on it. Drop in the comments if you want to hear more about that kind of thing, and I'll do a video on it, because it's helped me know it. It's got me where I think, particularly in the marathons, it's helped me go sub 3. And honestly, at 1, I never thought I would be able to do that. Thought that time had passed, but it is because I've kept my core strength in place, and towards the end of a marathon I tend not to fall apart, and I tend to start overtaking people. Anyway, that's my humble brag over. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear more about that kind of thing or see more. See you later, bye. So I just bumped into someone else from my gym who's reminding me it's Remembrance Day today. So I'm going to do a quick session in the gym, like I mentioned, and I'm going to pay my respects in the local East Barnet village where I live. Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do. I know there's lots of different opinions on the subject, and that's what life is about, different opinions. Same with running shoes, as we know. But the point is, everyone has a right to their own views, and you know, you may not agree with these views. Sometimes you may very much angrily oppose them, but in the end of the day, We don't want to live in a society where people are afraid to say anything, right? And it feels like we're edging towards that. You know, that said, I think we're all capable of knowing what's right and what's wrong, and when we hear views that are fundamentally wrong, it's quite right that, you know, these people, you know, are put to task on what they're saying and challenged, right? But not censored. And that's the key difference. We should challenge what people say, but we shouldn't censor what people say. And anyway, I feel like I'm airing into a dangerous subject, which is probably not right for my running channel. So I'll shut up about that. But it's funny enough, that lady just told me she's going to start doing Pilates. She's a keen gym goer, but she doesn't like the treadmill like me, and she likes going running, but she's having issues with her core. So ironically, having just given you the sermon about Pilates, she tells me there's now a Saturday class at 10 o'clock in my local gym where they're doing Pilates. So I might look that up and get some more tips and tricks of the trade. But yeah, I think, sorry, I know it's been a bit of a long one. I didn't think it would be because I'm not feeling great. But I just had a lot in my mind I thought might be useful for people. So key points, I guess, summarise. Hoka Mack X2, great shoe. You can use it at slow paces, but it excels at up tempo. Nice bounce, stable, lovely feel to it, as long as you don't have heel counter issues. And then I guess strength and conditioning to keep your body strong when you're not feeling great like I am really helps, having a strong core. And that, I think, is pretty much all I want to say now, because I'm almost at my fabled gym. Here we go. I'm going to see the sign again. Every step counts. There you go. Bye bye.